Wearing of clothes is not just a fashion statement, it is history, it is culture, a bridge between the past, present, and the future. We've heard stories of how our forefathers learned how to weave and make textiles from the spider. And we've also learnt how cotton was spun into yarn to create soft, durable fabric. From the batik, tie and dye to beautifully woven kente and the fugu, Ghana has a rich history in textile production. I am Nana Ikuya Mensah Brampa. Let's go on a journey to discover how Ghana's textile industry has evolved over the years. The history of textile production dates back to the prehistoric era. Before that, the early man used leaves to cover most parts of the body. But things changed and man realized the need for more protective clothing to not only cover their nakedness, but also to protect themselves against harsh weather conditions.
Contrary to claims by foreigners that the African didn't know anything about clothing, you look at the maps and the drawings in the pyramids, on the papyrus scrolls, and you will see that the people were clothing themselves. In fact, if you look at the 1,200-year-old wall painting found in the tomb of Pharaoh Ramses III, you will see that the ancient Egyptians have presented themselves as blacks wearing clothes.
Fashion has evolved over the years, with men, women, and children finding new styles for every season. Ethnic groups in Ghana have a unique way of dressing and a rich history of textile production. Popular among the textiles produced locally are the kente, fugu, among others. Traditionally, our mothers clothe themselves in slits and kaba, while the men wrap themselves in the African print cloth. Baggy jeans and oversized t-shirts then came in vogue in the 90s. Aside the fashion trends, the African print has also seen an evolution.
This is how it's begun, from prints or stamps, and handmade, of course, with limited designs, and from time immemorial till date, we've seen an evolution of our African print or textiles in the country. It has more designs, more colors, thanks to technology. And today we'll be telling you the African story of the African textile, how it started and how it is going. Let's get inside.
Obey the wind. Obey the wind. I obey the wind. Belele. Belele. I am belele. Mrs. Senyimbo Kola. Amaya Shataripa.
It was a zone strictly for men, where prints were transferred into the fabric. Over the period, thanks to technology, the once tedious process has now been simplified with the use of machines.
So yeah, I'm sure you're seeing the process of how we get these beautiful fabrics that we wear every day here at the Textiles Ghana Limited. In the past, these are the boards that were used, and I'm sure you can see it was tedious and it wasn't easy. But thanks to technology, we've seen that evolution happen here in Ghana.
The advancements in technology made the printed textile accessible. Technology enabled fashion designers to create their modern designs on African print, contributing to the evolution of African prints. The fabric goes through a lot of refining and scientific processes until designs are finally printed out on the fabric. From the steaming to printing, rewashing, tagging, and packaging stage, the designed textiles are ready for the market. Every print is symbolic and comes with a meaning. According to studies, some wearers of African prints even use the symbolisms of the pattern as a form of visual communication.
In the 80s, I think women put on correct attire. That is the slit, the kaba, the wrapper, and their scarf. That is the traditional wear. And they were so interested in it in such a way that they put it on to church, to the market, to parties, wherever they go. And you have proper market cloths that speaks. If I say they speaks, immediately you put it on, they know the name of the cloth, they know what the cloth is saying. For example, you can put on Ahinipan Kasa. It's a cloth with so many colors. Immediately you put it on, people will see that, oh, this is a rare African print, or any brand soldier. Maybe sometimes some are very controversial. You have a problem with somebody, then you put on any brand soldier. So we have a lot of them and we appreciate them. We put it on and we feel proud as Ghanaians.
In fact, African fashion designers help to make the African print and textiles more popular. When it comes to African fashion, the imperfections of African print are considered unique and beautiful, along with textiles' origins and colors.
Over time, I think we've gotten to that point where quite a number of fashion designers are all doing a lot of work with African prints. Now, the only challenge with everyone doing the same thing is it makes it more of replications of designs. Someone's copying from the other. You see a lot of that, so there's no particular identity. You cannot just see an outfit or a garment and tell that this one is from 1957 or it's from a brand, the gentleman. Hence one of the reasons quite a number of fashion designers decided to start, having their own unique ways of putting things together. Like what I told you earlier, we work a lot with plaid fabrics and African prints and linen and African prints. It's become one of our signatures. But it's a great thing, especially for those who choose to work with prints that are produced right here in Ghana.
Whilst on sale at the various outlets, designers selectively make their choice and convert them to beautiful clothes and accessories.
Whilst most designers are creating magic out of our made in Ghana fabrics, others are also focusing on the accessories bit, and we are at Sefako Accessories, where Sefako is turning fabrics into beautiful accessories. I'm sure you'll be interested to find out exactly what she does. Sefako started this 4 years ago, and she started with making earrings from her mother's closet, and it has developed into something else. We'll get inside there and then speak to Sefako. I was here 2 years ago and I saw just the necklaces and the earrings and some capes, but I've seen some more addition to your work. Sefako, tell us, how has the past 2 years been for you from my last visit?
With the kind of business I do, as time goes on, you need to think outside the box. When people come in, they ask if you do clothing. If you have any extra, they can buy. Okay, so I just thought I could add on a few things that would move, like designing t-shirts with African prints. So as you can see, there's this African map, and we are Africans, so there are various designs, and this is also the pocket design, like what I'm wearing. Okay.
I'm made in Ghana, I'm made in Ghana, I'm made in Ghana. take me to London. I'm made in Ghana. You can take me to Lagos, but I'm made in Ghana. I'm made in Ghana. I'm made in Ghana.
We're looking at Afrocentric now, and I'm sure you would want to know what Afrocentric is. Gabby, tell us, how did you come up with these designs?
Today, when somebody is going out, all they think about is, let me get something that I'll look good in, but still has that African touch in it. So yes, the Afrocentric is here to stay. And for us, we are inspired by the fact that colors, patterns, stripes, like you can see, and then the very colorful African prints that we have. In terms of how we get our designs, I'll say that when I see, sometimes you see something in town and it just clicks. Maybe I could do this, I could do that. Sometimes too, you wake up and that inspiration from within comes in. You draw the style you're looking for, and boom, it becomes a design that is winning in the market. And other times too, your own clients will tell you, I want it this way, I want it that way, and you bring it out and it's amazing and everybody accepts it. So inspiration comes from everywhere.
The major challenge for most of these designers, however, is the cost of Ghana's African print.
As much as I want to produce with quality fabrics, locally made fabrics are a bit on the higher side. But even with that, I do not compromise on producing quality stuffs, because it's not only the fabric that is used in producing an item. There are other things that come into play, like the hook, the lock. If it's not quality, the person can just wear it twice and then it will come off. So I do a bit of research for my suppliers and where I get the materials to produce.
The foreign ones are cheaper. For whatever reason, they're cheaper. Maybe the ones made here because they're original and the cost of production is a bit high. So it tends to be on the higher side. And so it makes it difficult sometimes, So because of the cost of the locally produced ones, in some cases, the texture of it, one might lean towards the foreign ones a bit.
Generally, I think Ghanaians are price sensitive. And the only reason why they will choose a patent design is because it's not as pricey as our locally made stuff. That's my only view on it. But apart from that, I think that in terms of color, design, our stuff are already fantastic. We have very quality stuff. Most customers are price sensitive, so they will rather say, okay, go with anyone that you have, the Chinese design, but there are some very good customers who say that, please, let's stick to GTP, let's stick to ATL. So those are there, but it's just the price that makes all the difference.
This has led to counterfeiting, a major challenge of manufacturers in the country.
We're in the business of selling designs and colors, period. When anybody buys fabric, you buy it because you see that, I like this design, I like this color. That's what attracts you to buy it. So when anybody picks your design, your creative work, and is able to fake it, and on top of that, manage to smuggle it into the country, and is able therefore to sell it at a much lower price, obviously that person has an upper hand over you. And that's been our challenge. People fake our designs, they take the designs outside the country, most specifically to China. They manage to print it or produce it at a cheaper cost, because of course nobody can beat China when it comes to pricing. They are number one, nobody. And so they're able to produce it at a much lower cost. And on top of that, they smuggle it into the country. So many of the costs that we incur, like the research and development costs of creating the designs, these counterfeiters don't incur any of that cost.
Again, for these manufacturers, new policies at the country's ports is a starting point for the textile industry to thrive.
One of the key initiatives that the government proposed, which has materialized and which has indeed helped us greatly in the past 2 years, is by knocking off the VAT of all locally printed fabrics. So since 2019-2020, we have enjoyed zero VAT as local printers. This has been extremely significant for us, and that has kept us in business in this past few years. Unfortunately for us, this policy would end of this year, 2021. And we're hoping that the government would reconsider the position and extend it for a little bit more years for us. Besides that, the government has put in a number of initiatives, one of which is what we call the textile stamp. We believe the textile stamp is a very key initiative that if it takes off well, it will help minimize the smuggling of imported fabrics into the country.
Osofo Kofiche Ahaji is an anthropologist.
Those who go and learn how to sew have got their businesses collapsed. Why? Because everybody is now going into used clothing. I believe you have gone to Kantamanto. All the dresses they are selling there were not designed by us. And it's cheaper for somebody to go and buy some jeans or some skirt or something. That has destroyed the business. But some few years back, we had a Tailors and Dressmakers Association doing brisk business. But today, no, the tailors cannot get any job again. So if we do not take care, we can be promoting made in Ghana, made in Ghana, made in Ghana, but we will end up not patronizing anything made in Ghana.
For decades now, Ghana's textile industry has suffered a steep decline after its vibrancy in the 70s.
The 70s and the 80s, Ghana muddled through sort of economically. Because of the coups and counter coups, there was no stability. And so that sort of gave the industry a shock. So as at the 70s, they had about 138 medium and large-scale enterprises that employed about 27,000, forming about 27% of all manufacturing jobs. So that was quite significant. Moving to the 80s, they inched upwards to about almost 30,000 jobs.
In the 90s through to the early 2000s, there were some 15 textile companies, but most have collapsed over the years. Currently, only 3 are active.
Fast forward to 1995, we were doing 7,000. That is about 23,000 jobs lost. And if jobs are lost, you know that the firms vanish, and so the jobs are also lost, right? So that is the significant loss. And we saw the loss of the medium-scale enterprises first, because they are very sensitive to environmental shocks. So they went away first before the large-scale ones began to suffer. So, I mean, as of 2002, the major players were GTMC, GTP, Akosombo Textile, and Printex. In 2002, there were 4. In 2012, 2 were closed down by the GRA, Akosombo Textiles and Acotex, for non-payment of taxes. You have about 3, yes.
Actually, almost all the remaining 3 factories were on the verge of collapse. In fact, as I speak, not all of us are in a good position. In fact, 1 or 2 of us are still struggling.
Despite the irresistible Western influence that has taken a toll on almost every African, the people of Ghana continue to embrace their traditional African dresses with much pride and elegance. Users of African print textiles envisage the industry will grow and be better 10 years to come.
I think the remaining firms will stay. In the next 10 years, I see GTP, Intex, and staying. ATL, yes, they've redefined their model, so they are also likely to stay. Maybe new firms will begin to join, using the new model that ATL, for instance, is using. And that model is not only in the textile industry. I think it's only in Ghana that we think about owning the whole value chain. All over the world, the business model is that other people perform other aspects. I mean, it would not be out of place to design, manufacture elsewhere and sell.
We should be able to project what's our own. I know that all the fashion designers around here are looking at enhancing what they do and also making us very visible. In the last 10 or 15 years, we've seen what brands have done with indigenous African products like our Henima, for instance. You know, it's sold out there. They've just changed the design a bit, but once you see them, you can just tell that this is from Ghana or it's from West Africa, and they're expensive, obviously, because they are high-end brands. So what happened to us working on these designs, changing them. I've seen kente that's been made in prints, imported from China. Even the ones that are woven, they're trying hard to replicate them. I'm sure these guys have had their people on the ground to learn how we weave them, just to probably become the market leaders. We need to own what's ours as a continent, as a country.
I believe that African print fashion is here to stay. It's been trending for over 10 years now. Foreign designers are using it, local designers are using it, and I think the whole world has embraced African prints and African fashion, and I'm so happy about it because now we're up there on the world fashion map and it's here to stay, and we have to rock it, embrace it, and promote it.
When you rock in your favorite attire next time, remember that fashion has come a long way, especially in Ghana. Indeed, African prints and textiles will always be part of the African story. So be proud of it and showcase it in your everyday style.
I'm made in Ghana. I'm made in Ghana. I'm made in Ghana.